At the Just Be Nice project, one of the outcomes that we're working towards is to change the way that people help people, to improve people's understanding of disadvantage and how different communities have nuanced and complicated ways of finding themselves in disadvantage. Now, one community that we've seen suffering from an almost invisible kind of disadvantage is children and their mental health. Now, mental health is a pretty buzzwordy kind of form of disadvantage at the moment, a lot of lip service being paid to it. And a lot of people just sort of saying, well, if someone's having a bad time, just speak to each other and it should be fine. Because we're more interested in how did we get to this space, how do we end up with children that are having these kinds of issues, we look at the way that parents and teachers and communities speak to children at a very, very young age. And one of the issues or frameworks that seems to come up very regularly when we're observing people try and teach children about disadvantage is that it comes up most often when they're little in the form of eat your dinner, there are people that don't get dinner, or wear your clothes, there are people that don't have clothes, or you should be happy with these shoes because other people don't have shoes, even if they're not, the fanciest shoes that you want. And what we're seeing as children get a little bit older from that point and they start to engage in a world outside of their family is that what they've actually learned is comparison. And that if I have more than this other person, this person that's doing poorly, then I should feel better than that person. I should appreciate it. Obviously, that's the outcome that we're going for. But I should feel better. I'm doing better. And so I should just, get on with it because I'm doing better than this other person. Now, when you get to high school, particularly as young teens, and you start to find your way, trying to work out your hierarchies socially, trying to work out your place in the world, when you go in with these lessons of comparison, they apply the same way in those social settings. So I have a $50 t-shirt and this guy has a $70 t-shirt. Well, he's got more than me, must be doing better than me. If he's doing better than me, then he is better than me. And all the other things that sort of come along with comparison. Comparing situations that aren't yours and either appreciating or not appreciating it based on where you stand. And that's a really dangerous space to be in for kids because it totally takes away their ability to self-regulate their own feelings of empathy, their own understanding of the situation of others, and appreciate their own circumstances regardless of what's happening around them. Instead of teaching kids to compare their situations to others while trying to develop this sense of understanding about the situations of others, we should be encouraging them to understand what they're going through as part of their decision-making process. So in separate conversations, you allow your children of every age to make decisions about the kind of person that they would like to be. Would you like to be a nice boy? Would you like to be a nice girl? Would you like to look after your family? Would you like to, look after your little brother, or, be nice to your mum, or be friendly to strangers? Or would you like to be a friendly person? Or would you like to be a fun person? These sorts of things at a very elementary level, you can start to introduce those concepts to kids and allow them to take control of their own narrative. So when you're telling them things like, well, they're not eating their dinner, you say, well, we've already had this discussion and you want to be a nice boy and you want to be a friendly boy and you want to look after your mum and you want to look after your brother. Well, your mum's just gone to a great effort to make you this dinner and your brother's trying to eat his dinner and we're all sitting here, and is it a nice boy thing to throw your dinner everywhere and yell at your mum and not eat it? They can make a decision then based on their own actions, not based on comparing what they're doing with anybody else, not based on anything else, but based on the kind of person that they would like to be. And as you start to build resilience internally, where children can regulate their own behaviors into the kind of person that they want to be so that they sleep at night comfortable in the knowledge that, no, I'm a nice boy because I do nice things. I'm a fun guy because I do fun things. I'm a friendly girl because I'm friendly to people and I wasn't mean in the playground today. Then that gives them a lot of power later on when they start to find their space in a hierarchy of social etiquette or whatever it is, because they can say, well, this kid's doing this thing and that's fine. They've been gifted this shirt, or they're able to afford this shirt and that's fantastic. I can't, but the kind of person I want to be is a nice person. It's a friendly person. It's a respectful person. It's an understanding person. And so as long as I'm doing all those things, whether or not he's got a more expensive shirt or a less expensive shirt than me doesn't make any difference. Because I feel how I feel based on the way that I carry myself, not based on where I'm sitting in some kind of, fake structure of winning or losing or more or less. Now, on top of that, we want to teach kids about taking the time to understand other people's situations, but until they have a North Star of their own personality, it's impossible to give someone perspective. Perspective, by definition, means you've got something to compare it to, like a massive rock doesn't look that massive until you put someone right next to it. Now, if you put someone right next to it and you go, wow, that rock's huge, all of a sudden I have perspective. So the first step is to give the children the idea of themselves. The first step is to build in kids everywhere, and if you're already past it as a grown-up, to try and build this in yourself, of the kind of person you want to be, so that then you can get perspective against the backdrop of other people. And then you can see that, oh, well, this person over here doesn't have as much food as me. Their car isn't as nice as mine. But they're a lovely person, they're a friendly person, they're a kind person, they're an interested person, they're an intelligent person, a hardworking person. I'm not here to judge based on their shoes or their food situation, because I don't judge myself based on that. Maybe I'm a stylish person and it matters to me to be stylish, but I don't demand that of everybody else because it's my own situation that I control. And when I look at them and I think the things that I value, they have those, regardless of their sort of, financial situation. That's how we start to build a bridge to being able to understand people properly. So for all the people who are a little bit older and still not sure who they are or who they want to be, that's a kind of space where we really want to put in time. But for children, it's so important that we talk to them in a way that gives them agency over the kinds of people that they'd like to be, rather than telling them to compare themselves to people from a very young age, particularly when it comes to being able to understand disadvantage later on in life. We keep doing this because I care and you matter. Get out there, have those conversations with each other, and as always, just be nice.